There's a lot of presidential history here in Iowa. It holds the first in the nation caucuses. Herbert Hoover was born in West Branch, and tonight we're in Polk County, named for our 11th president, with three people who hope to be number 45. Joining me now to question them are Iowans Kevin Cooney of KCCI and Kathy Abradovich of the Des Moines Register. Kevin?
Thanks, John. Candidates, we've already heard your answers on what you would do with Syrian refugees. But a crucial part of the immigration debate here at home is control of our own borders. Republicans say the borders, securing borders is a top priority. Democrats say they want a plan for comprehensive immigration reform. So, Governor O'Malley, are you willing to compromise on this particular issue to focus on border security first in favor of keeping the country safer?
Well, Mr. Cooney, we've actually been focusing on border security to the exclusion of talking about comprehensive immigration reform. In fact, if more border security and more deportations were going to bring our Republican brothers and sisters to the table, it would have happened long ago. The fact of the matter is, and let's say it in our debate because you'll never hear this from that immigrant-bashing carnival barker, Donald Trump, the truth of the matter is, net immigration from Mexico last year was zero. Fact check me. Go ahead, check it out. But the truth of the matter is, if we want wages to go up, we've got to get 11 million of our neighbors out of the off-the-book shadow economy and into the full light of an American economy. That's what our parents and grandparents always did. That's what we need to do as a nation. Yes, we must protect our borders, but there is no substitute for having comprehensive immigration reform with a pathway to citizenship for 11 million people, many of whom have known no other country but the United States of America. Our symbol is the Statue of Liberty. It is not a barbed wire fence.
Thank you. Now, Secretary Clinton, you said you would go further than the president when it comes to taking executive action to implement immigration reforms. But the president's already facing legal troubles on this. We've seen it more just in the past week. Realistically, how can you go further with executive action?
Well, first of all, I know that the president has appealed the decision to the Supreme Court. And my reading of the law and the Constitution convinces me that the president has the authority that he is attempting to exercise with respect to Dreamers and their parents, because I think all of us on this stage agree that we need comprehensive immigration reform with a path to citizenship. Border security has always been a part of that debate, and it is a fact that the net immigration from Mexico and south has basically zeroed out. So what we want to do is to say, look, we have 11 million people who have been here, many of them for decades. They have children who are doing so well. I've met and worked with Dreamers. I think any parent would be so proud of them. So let's move toward what we should be doing as a nation and follow the values of our immigration history and begin to make it possible for them to come out of the shadows and to have a future that gives them a full chance at citizenship.
Senator Sanders, you've actually talked about immigration as being a wage issue in the United States, and I want to actually go directly to the wage issue now. You've called for raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour everywhere in the country. But the president's former chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, Alan Krueger, has said a national increase of $15 could lead to undesirable and unintended consequences of job loss. What level of job loss would you consider unacceptable?
Kathy, let me say this. No public policy doesn't have, in some cases, negative consequences. But at the end of the day, what you have right now are millions of Americans working 2 or 3 jobs because their wages that they are earning are just too low. Real inflation accounted for wages has declined precipitously over the years. So I believe that, in fact, this country needs to move toward a living wage. It is not a radical idea to say that if somebody works 40 hours a week, that person should not be living in poverty. It is not a radical idea to say that a single mom should be earning enough money to take care of her kids. So I believe that over the next few years, not tomorrow, but over the next few years, we have got to move the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour, and I apologize to nobody for that.
You said there are consequences. You said there are consequences consequences for any policy. Do you think job losses are a consequence?
This is
that are
what I
worth
think.
accepting?
This is what many economists believe. That one of the reasons that real unemployment in this country is 10%, one of the reasons that African American youth unemployment and underemployment is 51%, is the average worker in America doesn't have any disposable income. You have no disposable income when you're making 10, 12 bucks an hour. When we put money into the hands of working people, they're going to go out buy goods, they're going to go out buy services, and they are going to create jobs in doing that.
Kathy.
That is the kind of economy I believe put money in the hands of working people, raise the minimum wage to 15 bucks an hour.
Kathy, this was not merely theory in Maryland. We actually did it. Not only were we the first state in the nation to pass a living wage, we were the first to pass a minimum wage. And the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which hardly ever says nice things about Democratic governors anywhere, named our state #1 for innovation and entrepreneurship. We defended the highest median income in the country. And so look, the way a stronger middle class is actually the source of economic growth. And if our middle class makes more money, they spend more money and our whole economy grows. We did it and it worked. And nobody headed for the hills or left the state because of it.
You're calling for a $15 minimum wage now, but why did you stop at $10.10 in your state?
10.10 was all I could get the state to do by the time I left in my last year, but 2 of our counties actually went to 12.80. And their county executives, if they were here tonight, would also tell you that it works. The fact of the matter is, the more our people earn, the more money they spend, and the more our whole economy grows.
And
That's American
Kathy, I
capital.
think-
Let me just
Kathy,
add to that this is not an esoteric argument. You're seeing cities like Seattle, you're seeing cities like San Francisco, cities like Los Angeles doing it, and they are doing it well, and workers are able to have more disposable income.
But I do take what Alan Kruger said seriously. He is the foremost expert in our country on the minimum wage and what its effects are. And the overall message is that it doesn't result in job loss. However, what Alan Kruger said in the piece you're referring to is that if we went to $15, there are no international comparisons. That is why I support a $12 national federal minimum wage. That is what the Democrats in the Senate have put forward as a proposal. But I do believe that is a minimum. And places like Seattle, like Los Angeles, like New York City, they can go higher. It's what happened in Governor O'Malley's state. There was a minimum wage at the state level, and some places went higher. I think that is the smartest way to be able to move forward, because if you go to 12, it would be the highest historical average we've ever had.
Yeah, but look, it should always be going up. I mean, with all due respect to Secretary
Clinton. You would index it to the median wage. Of course, you would do the 12 and you would index it. But
I think we need to stop taking our advice from economists on Wall Street and start taking advice.
When we talk about Wall Street,
economists.
Wall Street's a good issue to talk about.
Model of economics.
Let me just say,
all right, Senator, you have given me the perfect segue. We are going to talk about Wall Street, but now we've got to go to do a commercial, because we're coming to the end of the first hour, but there's another hour behind it, and we're going to talk about Wall Street, so hang with us.